So welcome back. This is Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club, and I'm just going to do a series of little 5 to 10 minute intervals of information, just to give you some insight into what I do and also the information that I've received over the last 25 years. And so today I'm going to talk about understanding PTSD from a Chinese medicine view. So the common thing that they call it these days is burnout. So burnout is the common name that they use today for, post-traumatic stress disorder. So PTSD. So what I found is that there is a way you can actually tell if someone has PTSD. So when I actually feel the radial artery in the wrist here, so at the thumb, so that's my thumb there. That's my thumb there. So this radial artery here, that's in the wrist. So what actually happens is cortisol, epinephrine, and adrenaline gets released from our adrenal gland. Now that is our fight or flight gland. So it spits out our stress hormones. So this is so when we have an event, a stressful event, that adrenal gland spits out more of those three stress hormones. Now what happens is it actually, the natural positioning of the artery itself actually is superficial here, and then when you go over that bony bit, you'll feel that it'll start to sink a little bit, and the natural progression of the artery is to sink into the arm towards the bone itself, towards the radial bone. That makes sense, that the radial artery sinks so it's close to the bone. But what actually happens is with these three stress hormones that's been released by the adrenal gland, it pushes the artery to the surface of the skin. So that's how I know, because I'll feel the artery, and I can feel the artery very close to the surface of the skin. And that's how I know. That's the standard of care. That's my diagnostic tool that tells me that they've got this adrenal fatigue is another name, so post-traumatic stress disorder. Another name is stage 3 chronic stress. So they're chronically stressed. So what causes it? Well, it's many things that can cause it. The number one thing that I found here in Australia is, and in New Zealand as well, we're surrounded by water. So what happens is we go swimming when we're young, and we feel over a few times, you go to the beach and you get confident, you start to swim, and you get stuck in a rip and it takes you out, and then someone has to go and save you. Or you almost drown on the way back in. So, yeah, what happens is then the adrenal gland goes into stage 1, so it's fight or flight, let's get the hell out of here because we're trying to escape because we almost drowned, see? Another cause can be car accidents, motorcycle accidents. I've found that most of these people that drive racing cars and motorcycles, the people that race them, they all have it because they have car accidents or motorcycle accidents and almost kill themselves. And then they flip into this fight or flight, adrenal fatigue. Also, it can be from abuse, usually with women. They get abused. Same with men. Men can get abused as well when they're young. It flips them into this fight or flight. Physically and mentally, either one can do it. If you're walking around in eggshells all day when you're a young kid, it will affect you when you get older. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You're always worried that the other shoe's going to drop. So also, being assaulted, that will do it too. If you've been assaulted and almost killed you, that'll do it. Anything where it puts you into this highly stressful situation. Normally, it happens in the first 10 years of our life. Not always. That's not 100% true. I have had cases where they're older. some sort of, usually it's a car accident or a motorcycle accident. Usually horse riding is another one. They come off the horse and almost kill themselves. That can do it too. And it causes this, what happens is they'll just keep pushing themselves. So you know what the cause is now? The top five anyway that I see a lot of. So now what does it do? So what happens is they just constantly on the go. They can't stop. They're always push. They push themselves until they physically break. So that it's like this is a subliminal fear that's always there, and that subliminal fear pushes them all the time. They can't stop. So to combat that subliminal fear, they actually go and do things. They can't stop. They're always doing something. They'll always be doing something. They can't help themselves. They'll be vacuuming when you're trying to lie around and do nothing, and they're doing housework, or they're just constantly on the go. You go on holiday with them, it's not a holiday. They've always got something to do. It's jet skiing or water skiing, or they're always climbing some mountain or something. They're always doing something. They can't help themselves. They push themselves until what? Until they physically break down. That's what happens. They don't have time to be depressed. These people don't have time to be depressed. If they get depressed, there's only one time that they will get depressed: when their body stops working, when their body just says, I can't do this anymore. And what will happen is that they'll injure their back, or normally it's the back. They'll injure their back to the point where they just can't walk and they're bedridden. Or they'll injure both their legs and they can't walk. They can't go anywhere. And what that will do is, because this subliminal fear is always there, and they've always combated this subliminal fear by doing things, and now they can't do those things. Now they don't have that opportunity because their body just can't do it. And then they'll lay down for a day or two, go crazy, because they've got this subliminal fear that's always pushing them. And then they'll probably rest for a day or two, and they'll cry because they've had to face this fear that's always there. And then all of a sudden, bang, they'll be like, let's go and do something. Now I'm better. My back's better. My legs are better. I can do things now. So then they're off again. So it's like a big cycle, a big circle. They just push, crash, physically crash. And then they mentally crash. And then they go. They rest, recover for a day or two, and then they bang, let's go. Let's do. Let's go. Now, this can be an underlying cause for ADD, and ADHD. I see this a lot in people who have been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. This will be the underlying cause. Because they've got this adrenal gland that just won't shut down, and they're just constantly on the go. And what will happen is, over time, they'll just wear their heart out. So then they eventually get cardiovascular disease. This is just from my experiences, what I've seen over the years. So I've been doing this for 9 years. So I know, I see it. I've seen a lot of it. I'd probably say about 15% of the population have this condition, and they don't even know they've got it. They're just so functional. They're great to hire. They're great employees. Why? Because they just keep pushing themselves. They push themselves until they break, physically break, and then they mentally break. So just remember that they push till they physically break, then they mentally break, because they've always combated the subliminal fear with doing stuff. And as I said, they're great employees because they get stuff done. They will not be able to stop. And what will eventually happen is they'll ask for a raise. I want to get a pay raise, and the boss will say, I can't. And then the employee's thinking, well, this person with PTSD is thinking, well, I'm doing 3 times as much as my colleague, and yet I'm not getting any more money. So what they normally do is they go out in business themselves, and they will get stuff done. They can't help themselves. They push themselves. Most of these elite wealthy people, they normally have it too. They just can't stop. They just push. They're very energetic. They cannot stop. Now, how do you reverse this? How do you slow them down? Well, herbs is the best. Acupuncture does help. It helps to relax the CNS, the central nervous system, the somatic system as well. So that they put them into a parasympathetic state, they call it. So they're constantly in this sympathetic state. So we call it so what happens is the needles actually put them into a parasympathetic state. And the herbs actually helps to strengthen and reinforce the adrenal gland. In Chinese medicine, we look at the adrenal gland as the kidney. The kidney and the adrenal gland are as one. So from a conventional medicine point of view, the adrenal gland spits out those stress hormones into the kidney, and then the kidney filtrates the blood, and then it goes into circulation again, into the blood. And that's when you get the, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. The fight or flight. So yeah, that's herbs actually help strengthen the adrenal gland, so then it doesn't spit out those stress hormones constantly. Now, success rate, it's give and take. Sometimes I get great success with it, with herbs. Sometimes I don't. It's not 100% perfect, but I can help to calm them down and get them back to normal, whatever that is. But they'll slow down. They'll feel at ease. They're going to feel odd. Normally, that's what I hear in the first couple of weeks. First 2 to 3 weeks, they'll start to say, "Oh, I feel odd. I feel calm." All right. If you want to know more, you can DM me or comment below, or you can call me on 0422 549 542, or go to my website www.sixsenseacupuncture.com.au. And yeah, I hope to speak to you next week. I'm going to talk about another subject next week. Take care, everyone.